Good morning, class. We are now in Articles 104 to 111 on Book 1 of Criminal Law. We are here now in Chapter 2, what civil liability includes. So we have known already what the civil liability is of a certain person who committed a certain crime. And though there are some exceptions in which some of the crimes did not arise any civil liability in the performance or the acts or omissions of the crime they have committed. Now we have here Article 104, what is included in civil liability. The civil liability established in Articles 100, 101, 102, and 103 of this code includes: first, the restitution; second, the reparation of the damage caused; third, indemnification for consequential damages. Later on, we will discuss this civil liability one by one: the restitution, the reparation of the damage caused, and the indemnification for consequential damages. Article 105, restitution, how made. So, paano ginagawa ang process of restitution? The restitution of the thing itself must be made whenever possible, with allowance for any deterioration or diminution of value as determined by the court. The thing itself shall be restored, even though it be found in the possession of a third person, who has acquired it by lawful means, saving to the latter his action against the proper person who may be liable to him. And this provision is not applicable in cases in which the thing has been acquired by the third person in the manner and under the requirements which, by law, bar an action for its recovery. Now, one of the examples of the restitution, for example, there is a theft, no? There is a taking of the property of the said owner, for example, the cell phone. So in the process of restitution, the cell phone will be returned to the owner. So it will be recovered by the owner himself or by the authority by the process of the restitution. So kukunin yung cell phone, no, sa nagnakaw, or even though it was already sold to third person, so pwede pa rin kunin by the process of restitution. So kung ano yung kinuha, yun din yung kukunin na cellphone or any property, no, that was unlawfully taken from the owner. So ang ibig sabihin ng restitution, kunin lamang. But the provision here is not applicable, no, in cases which the thing has been acquired by third person na bar or hindi pwede in accordance with the law. For example, the sale of a certain car, no? And there is if the buyer is in good faith o hindi niya alam na ito pala yung this car was stolen, no, by the seller. Di mo alam and you are the buyer. You buy the car and then you scrutinize the papers, tinignan mo sa LTO, and then you found out na wala namang any issues regarding the car. So binili mo yung car and you are a buyer in good faith. And according to the law, if you are a buyer in good faith, no, the thing na ibenta sa'yo will not be recovered without any compensation. So technically, if kukunin yung car from your possession, they have to pay. They have to reimburse the payment you have made to the seller of a car. But since if ever there is hindi na makita yung seller ng said car, so technically the car will not be recovered from your possession because that was already barred from an action for its recovery that is in accordance with the law on sales. If, for example, if you wanted to see the certain provisions on law on sales, and as well as the obligations and contracts. So, ganun ang mangyayari sa restitution. You have to take back the property, no? And then, kung hindi naman nyo makuha ang property because sira na or hindi na siya magamit, we have also the process of reparation ng Article 106. According to the law, the court shall determine the amount of damage, taking into consideration the price of the thing, whenever possible in its special sentimental value to the injured party, and reparation shall be made accordingly. So kung hindi na magamit because it was already broken, or shall we say hindi na ma-retrieve, so technically the owner can resort to the reparation, no? Pwedeng bayaran. You have to collect the sum of money. And of course, the amount should be equal to the property na nasira or na-lost because of the crime committed by a certain individual. So, kailangan bayaran kung ano yung nawala. We have also here Article 107, Indemnification, what is included. Indemnification for consequential damages shall include not only those caused by the injured party, but also those suffered by his family or by a third person by reason of the crime. Okay, ano itong indemnification? No, as again, this is a consequential damages. For example, you are making false statement or fake news against your neighbor. And then, because of that fake news, dahil sa mga binitawan mong salita against your neighbor, natanggal siya sa trabaho, no? So, if it is, even though na it is proved that he act or omit that kind of acts or omissions, and because of the fake news, no, na ginawa mo, so natanggal nga siya sa trabaho. So technically, he can file or she can file an indemnification. Kasi dahil sa ginawa mong krimen, ng pagpapaya sa kanya or libel, natanggal siya sa work. And lahat ng mga heirs niya, no, lahat ng family was affected by that circumstances. So you have to give, aside from the property, no, but you have to give indemnification to the family because of the crime you have committed. Article 108, obligation to make restoration, reparation for damages, or indemnification for consequential damages, and action to demand the same upon whom it devolves. So, saan ma-transfer? For instance, namatay na yung accused. So, yung word na devolves here, this entails the transfer of the liability. Article 108, the obligation to make restoration or reparation for damages and indemnification for consequential damages devolves, you have to take note, upon the heirs of the person liable. So, yung mga heirs niya or yung mga ascendants niya, ascendants or descendants, no? Kung meron siyang anak, doon sa kanyang mga anak. Kung wala naman siyang mga anak, doon sa kanyang mother and father. The action to demand restoration, reparation, and indemnification likewise descends to the heirs of the person injured. Ayan. So, yung demand, for example, yung mga victim, and then yung principal victim is namatay. So, pwedeng mag-demand yung mga anak, no, ng victim or ng mga victims. So, it descends to the heirs. Ayan. Kasi merong mga cases na dahil sa tagal ng proseso ng judgment, no, namamatay yung mga akusado, namamatay yung mga victims. So technically, it will be devolves to the heirs of the person liable, and for those victim, it also descends to the heirs of the persons injured. Now, Article 109, share of each person civilly liable. If there are two or more persons civilly liable for a felony, the courts shall determine the amount for which each must respond. So it is the duty of the court to determine kung magkano yung share nila for each person civilly liable. If there are two persons or more persons, so it is up to the court. Wala tayong hawak niyan. And Article 110, several and subsidiary liability of principals, accomplices, and accessories of a felony, preference, and payment. So we have here, in relation to 109, we have here preference and payment. Notwithstanding the provisions of the next preceding article, the principals, accomplices, and accessories, each within their respective class, shall be liable severally among themselves for their quotas, and subsidiaries for those of the other persons liable. So when we talk about liable severally, so technically, when we talk about liable severally, so they are all, no, they are all of them can pay or will pay the damages awarded by the court. And subsidiary liability shall be enforced, first against the property of the principals, next against that of the accomplices, and lastly against that of the accessories. So, dapat una yung principals. Then next, we have the accomplices and the accessories. For example, wala namang silang maibayad when it comes to civil liability, comes to payment of monetary claims. O pwede sa mga property. Una, kailangan sa principals. So kung kulang sa principals, let's go to the accomplices. Kung kulang pa rin, then let's go to the accessories. Kung enough na sa principals, then okay na si accomplices at saka si accessories. But again, it's up to the court. Baka magkakaroon ng pro rata or example, 30% kay principals. 50% kay principals, 25% kay accomplices, or 25% kay accessories. So it's up to the court. Whether the liability in solidum or subsidiary liability has been enforced, the person by whom payment has been made shall have a right of action against the others for the amount of their respective shares. Article 111, obligation to make restitution in certain cases. Again, restoration of, this is something lost or stolen to its, restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. Any person who has participated gratuitously in the proceeds of a felony shall be bound to make restitution in an amount equivalent to the extent of such participation. Ano ang ini-emphasize ng Article 111? Again, when we talk about restitution, it is the restoration of something lost or stolen to its proper owner. So for example, the car was stolen, and then they have to restore the car kasi sira na. And then eventually na okay na ang car. So, ang ibig sabihin nito na yung equivalent, no, to the extent of such participation ng pag-restore ng car will be, or the proceeds of such restitution will be given to those who restore the car. Bibigyan din sila. Aside from the owner, they are bound, the owner are bound also to give those persons involved in the restoration of the said car or the said property. So, kailangan. Okay? Now, we have here to test your knowledge about Article 104 and 2111. Again, as a teacher, we only have this 10% no, na contribution to your success in this course. So the 90% should be your effort in reading the books and reading the codal provisions of Criminal Law Book 1 and the in-depth understanding of it. Now, if you have some clarification or questions, you can send me private message or email, no, if marami yung mga questions ninyo. For now, we have to answer this Article 104 to 111, the quiz. This is our quiz number 6 for final term. And I hope that you will read all the assignment, read all your assignments, yung mga annotations ng book na nilagay ko sa Google Classroom ninyo. So now, I will give this quiz to you. I hope you will finish this one in this prescribed period. Okay.